Hey, church family, Pastor Dan here. I hope you all are doing well. And wanted to come to you today and just share a couple of updates with you, as well as just some thoughts in this time of this global pandemic that we are in. First of all, an update. Our deacon board decided yesterday that in response to Governor Ducey, who has, of course, put a shelter in order going into effect at 5 p.m. today, that and lasting until April 30th, that the church will remain closed during that time period. So from now until April 30th, which means we will not continue to come together for worship services until April 30th. Now, if things change, we would certainly reevaluate that. But however, that's what we are doing right now. And so I wanted to give you that update. Secondly, is that even though we have that shelter in place or stay-at-home order that will be going into effect here, it does not apply to the religious institutions, that being the staff and that sort of thing. So although we're not going to meet together in person for worship services, I want to let you know that the staff here at Summit Ridge is still working. So Tara is still manning the office hours here, even though she's doing that from home. So you can still call, you can still email. We will be here to respond and be here to help and serve and help in any way we can. So I just wanted to share that with you, that although we are not meeting corporately together and that the church building is closed, the business of the church is still going to continue. And so if you need to get a hold of any of us, feel free to do that. Contact us, email, cell phones, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can. Now I just want to share some thoughts with you. I realize that this is not what we wanted. We were hoping that maybe we could be together for Easter. And unfortunately, that's just not going to be the case this year. First time in my history that I've not been able to have Easter service together corporately with all of you in person. And so obviously that is not what we wanted to have happen. And this is not what we wanted at all. However, this is where we find ourselves. And I realize that there's differences of opinions among Christians and certainly among churches about how to respond to this pandemic, and specifically how to respond to what state, local governments are doing by putting in orders such as shelter at home. And there have been certainly a variety of different views on this from Christians and churches, some obviously quoting scripture. One passage that comes to mind is from Hebrews, do not neglect the habit of meeting together. And I understand those viewpoints. I don't, however, agree with them. And I think that there are others who say, Christians, where's our faith? We ought to be able to come together and God will protect us. He will bring healing to us. Everything will be okay. I get those views. However, I'll be honest, I don't agree with those views. And here's why, is I think there is a difference in faith. First of all, there's a faith that tests God, and there's a faith that trusts God. And this is what I mean by this. The faith that tests God, I think, is in many ways what many Christians and even some churches are advocating when they say, hey, let's come together. God will protect us. He told us in his word. He will heal us. He will protect us. Nothing will harm us. And quite frankly, I think that misses the point. The fact is that when it comes to having faith that tests God, we are essentially saying to God, God, we are now testing you. We are now testing you. We are putting you on the hot seat, and we are coming together, and we expect you to do exactly what your word says. Here's the problem with that kind of faith, is it neglects the fact that maybe God has put in certain parameters and certain things, such as our government, to help provide that protection. And so while we aren't meeting together, while we may disagree with this, the reality is, I think our government is doing the best they can in trying to protect us and keep us healthy, and really to stop the spread of this virus. And here's the thing we need to know about this virus. I don't know if you've seen the stats on this thing, but the virus is 15 times more deadlier than the flu virus. And in fact, already this season alone, the coronavirus has killed more people globally this season than the flu virus has. So it is a serious, serious virus, and we need to take it very seriously. We don't have any vaccine or antidote against this thing. What does work so far is social distancing. And so that's why I believe our governments have been acting in our best interests so far by saying, stay at home, work from home, all those things to keep us safe, social distancing. And by the way, while we are not meeting together, in person, we are still meeting together. We're just doing it in a different way. Through technology, through things like Facebook Live, through YouTube, through even our own website, which we'll have live streaming this Sunday. And so I'm grateful for this technology that we can still come together. We even tried out a Zoom call last night. And we can have up to 100 people on a Zoom call. And Zoom has graciously freed up this service to be free and to not put a time limit on, which is wonderful. So we will continue to meet together. Maybe we're even looking at the possibility of having Zoom Bible studies. I realize that's really different, maybe a little awkward at first, but it's something that's worth exploring because you know what? We love being together. We really do. Here's the thing also, is I want us to embrace a faith that doesn't test God, but rather a faith that trusts God. And that's the faith I want us to embrace. And while we are not meeting together personally and together in person, I also want us to realize that, you know what? The Bible also says in Romans to obey our leaders and to pray for our leaders. Right now, they are making the best decisions I think they possibly can. I don't think they want our country to shut down. I don't think they want people to stop going to work. I don't think they want layoffs. I don't think they want any of this. If they could have it their way, they would want us to continue to come together. But it's just simply not safe. And so I hope that we would have a faith that trusts God and says, you know what, God, I realize this is frustrating. This is not what I want. But you know what? You're in control. And I'm going to trust you. So far, our government and our government leaders haven't asked us to do anything as churches that has been unbiblical, illegal, immoral, or unethical. They've just asked us, can you please not meet in person for this time being? And that's great. And we're going to honor that. And so I hope that as we move through this time, that you'll continue to connect with us on Facebook, that you can continue to connect with us on the website, that you can continue to connect with us via email or phone. We're here. We love you all. We want to serve you all during this time as best as we can. And my hope is that at the end of all of this, which I believe there will be an end, that we'll look back and the stories we will be to share of how God provided, of how God showed up, of how God was there through this with us, will inspire us, encourage us, and maybe even cause other people to come to know Jesus Christ. And so that is my hope and my prayer for all of us as we move through this time together. So I hope you understand this. If you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. Happy to have further conversations with you all. But until that time, God bless you all. Be safe. And in some ways, continue to be a blessing to others. Love you all. Take care.